Here's the hard truth. If hustle were enough, you would already be where you want to be. But what if I told you the key to success was psychology? In fact, 80% of everything we achieve is due to psychology. That's why the best team doesn't always win. It has to do with the psychology on the day. So today we're going to dive into the mindset behind massive success and talk about why all the strategy in the world will not be effective if your mind is sabotaging your progress. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. My name is Kevin. You know, I see it all the time. People say, well, hustle has value. It has value, and you know that that's not what I'm about. But here's what happens. Hustle is enough to bring you early wins, but hustle is not sustainable to create a legacy. It's not sustainable to create a long-term business. It's just not. So we have to get into the details of what is really going on for sustainable business. And we've got to ignore the bill of goods that we've been sold that says hustle equals success. And it really doesn't, almost never does, at least long term. You know, hustle might equal a win here or there, but it's not going to create a career. It's not going to create a legacy. So what is the secret sauce that we're looking for? It's psychology. You know, the idea that your thoughts create your actions and your actions create your results is the anchor point of the idea that 80% of all we do is up to our psychology. Because high performers don't do more, they just think differently. They ask better questions, they reframe their failures. Their real mastery is in state management, meaning how do you operate under pressure? In high pressure situations, how do you show up? How do you operate? What is your thought process? What do you feel? That's where high performers really excel when it comes to psychology. Because let's face it, if you're stressed, being reactive, or overwhelmed, no amount of strategy is going to work. You're going to show stress, reactions, and overwhelm. It's going to be high levels of emotion. And most people feel like they have to hustle or grind in order to prove themselves. And that's fair enough. Okay, that will help you prove yourself and give you confidence and do all the things. But here's where we can draw a distinction between why hustle won't work long term and why psychology is the answer. It's because when you abandon the idea that you have to prove yourself to anyone, you actually make the moves that get you to your dream life, that get you to your goals, that get you to the success you want in life. And that's the difference. Normally, hustle and grind is designed to get you to work towards someone else's version of success so that someone else says, hey, high five, good job, you did it. And when we talk about psychology, it really anchors in our why based on our version of success. That's a legacy. That's something we can do day in and day out without overwhelm, without burnout. That is something we can hang our hat on, and that is the distinction we have to make. Why does hustle not work? Because it pushes us to someone else's definition of success. When we get our mind wrapped around the idea of what we want being true, we get locked in with our why, we take different actions. Just like the high performer that reframes failure, doesn't see failure as debilitating or deflating in any way. If you're hustling and grinding and you hit failure, feel, I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do. I didn't do the thing I was trying to do. When your psychology is right and failures happen, it's easy to reframe that failure and to keep going towards what you actually want. And that's a key component of entrepreneurship. It's a key component of high performance. In fact, most high performers can't win unless they lose a few times. Just doesn't happen. Anybody that's at a high level of success, you ask them, what was the biggest thing you did to get here? And they will say probably some rendition of, I failed a lot. Early on, I failed a lot. But being able to reframe that and use it as an asset is a skill that requires a lot of brain power. And I'm not degrading the 20% mechanics. You know, there is a 20% skill and information and mechanics that go into it. I'm not deflating that at all. I'm simply saying that a lot of people rely on their talent to take them to the finish line. What they don't realize is that there's a mental component, a psychological component that will be far more powerful than all the talent they could muster. And that's exactly why you see the most talented people not win in business or anything else for that matter in the long term. The people who can really master the psychology and develop their skill are the ones that are going to win and be around for a long time. And if you think about it this way, psychology would be the foundation and mechanics, skill, and information would be the structure, be the house. So which is more important long term, the sticks or the foundation? Of course, it's the foundation. That's how you can think about it. So maybe you're stuck in this cycle of doing more and getting less, and maybe it's time to break out of that. Maybe it's time to focus on what's going on in here and less about what's going on out here. Because ultimate success for anybody is not about grinding harder or hustling more. It's about thinking different, thinking smarter, if you will. So if you found this video useful, give me a like or maybe subscribe to my channel, share it with someone you might know, and always come back for more. We do these every week. My name is Kevin, and I'll see you next time.